Welcome to Module 14, Tuples, Sets, and Dictionaries. So tuple sets and dictionaries are a kind of data structure. So this is an important word to know and is common to all programming languages. This is not specific to Python. So whenever you hear the word data structure, you need to, at a minimum, think of a type of an object that contains multiple pieces of data. So that is as simple of a definition as you can get. There are many different data structures, many different types of data structures. But really, in essence, it just means some type of object that can contain other objects inside of it, or just other pieces of data inside of it. So we have learned about lists. So that is the first data structure that we learned about. In this chapter, or in this module, we're going to learn about tuples, sets, and dictionaries. They are just different ways to contain data. So you might think, okay, how could there be a different way to contain data besides a list? A list seems like, just a very simple way. You just have one item after another. Well, each of these have their own rules on how the data is contained and how you can access that data, how you can modify the data. Sometimes you can't modify the data. So that's what makes each type different, is that they all have these specific rules on, how you add new pieces of data, how you remove pieces of data, how you access the data, and so forth. So a real world analogy here would be, there's many different, things that we have, many different structures that contain other items in the real world. So you can think of like a shipping container that can contain, it has a certain structure, a generic structure. It can contain lots of different types of other things. Silverware, a silverware holder, like in your kitchen, for instance, is really just meant to contain silverware. So that's a type of container. A dresser, like in your room, that can contain clothes, folded up or in different ways. A closet, you can think of as a structure that contains, items. So like clothes that are not folded up. And just, any kind of boxes laying around that can contain household items. So each one of these could be considered, analogous to a different type of a data structure in Python. So most of the objects that we've worked with thus far are not data structures, such as integers, floats, strings, and booleans. These are not data structures. These are just considered single values. Now strings, you could sort of kind of think of them as a data structure because they can contain multiple characters, but really, you can't really subtract or take away a string or modify a string. So it's really not a data structure. A range object maybe could be considered a very simple data structure. It's just a sequence of integers, but usually don't think of them as a data structure because they're just so simple and there's not much use to them outside of a for loop. Okay, so now in this module, we're going to look at different ways data is structured, different ways it is contained using tuples, sets, and dictionaries. These are all built-in data structures in Python. They're all very important. You must know about them. They're used all the time, and we will cover them in this module.